Hey chums, it's Melody and Adam, and we had the amazing experience of getting to go to IAAPA this year. Now, for those of you that don't know what IAAPA is, this is the theme park trade show. It was over in Orlando, and when we say trade show, everything is there. We're talking about roller coaster manufacturers, food vendors, even the people that make like locks for people to put their personal belongings when they're going on rides. So it's a huge trade show. It is actually open to the public. You do have to pay for admission. I want to start out by giving a shout out to the American coaster enthusiasts. We did get an opportunity to go over there and work with them a little bit. And we got to meet some really cool people and talk to some other people that love roller coasters and theme parks as much as we do. So we got the opportunity to work with them while we were over there. We spent some time at their booth. And then the rest of the time, we spent going around and checking out all the stuff that was there. There's ride demos, there was food to eat, there was a lot of really fun stuff. So before we continue, we are going to show you some footage of what we saw over at IAAPA. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and make sure that you hit that bell so that you never miss a video anytime we upload something that's new.
Yeah, so let's get right to it. The first zone that we hit was the carnival area. They had a full roller coaster. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a full-size roller coaster. It's like a small family coaster.
It's like something, I think it was from Fun Spot.
Yes,
I kept seeing people wearing Fun Spot.
That was Fun Spot Orlando's area. They had a whole section of the convention. They had what could only be described as a hamster wheel spinning coaster. Most of the train cars spun, but the front car flipped like a hamster wheel. Like imagine facing each other and flipping over and over in a hamster wheel. They also had a pendulum ride, which I rode, and I must say that's the smoothest pendulum ride I've ever been on. It was really, really comfortable. It was a little tough to get into the seat. It was a little high up, so that's kind of tough. If you got small chums, you have to pick them up and put them in there. But yeah, it was a great ride. Really, really smooth. It held you upside down for a little bit, but it was still, you're still moving, so you didn't feel like your blood was rushing to your head too badly. They had a mini drop, which we rode. That was really fun. And they had a carnival ride there called Crazy Cars, which spun and spun some more. That was pretty much all that did. It was still fun, though. Still a really fun ride. A good family ride. Another stop we hit was the Zamperla booth. Zamperla's booth had one of their newer rides called Nebulas. Nebulas, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a four-armed beast.
It's like a I would consider that a carnival ride, but it was, I mean, it's an actual ride. Like it's a good quality ride. What Nebulas was you had one arm where people were up here and then people were down here. And when the ride went, it was like almost like a grabbing motion. So your cart is going up and down, and then when they were letting people off from the lower row, the top row would go backwards, and they would go now this way, and then it was your turn to get off of the ride. I mean, that's, I guess, the best way to describe it.
Yeah, really, it's like I don't really know of another way to describe it. Like I said, it's a bit of a four-armed beast.
It was just really fun.
A little more calming and soothing, but you still get that floater time with that ride. The way the speed is designed, you get some good floater time. Some of the other stuff that we got to see were brand new ride vehicles from companies such as RMC, Bolliger and Mabillard, Intamin, Zamperla, and S&S.
We did see over there Hagrid's motorbike, which that's not going to be a new ride. That's a ride that Intamin already has made, and it's up and it's running. If you've had the pleasure of riding it, it's over at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure over in Orlando. But over at the Intamin booth, we did get to see a preview of Pantheon.
Yeah.
Pantheon will be at Busch Gardens, Virginia.
And we also got to see what the icebreaker cars are going to look
I
like.
am so excited for that ride. Icebreaker is being manufactured by Premier Rides. This is the same company that does Tigress over at Busch Gardens in Tampa. And Tigress it's a compact coaster, but it's packed with so much. It's such a fun ride. So I have very high expectations for what we're going to see from Icebreaker.
Oh, it's going to be great. All the Premier rides that I've ridden so far, I think really only just a couple, Tigress and Full Throttle over at Six Flags Magic Mountain, have both been awesome rides. Seriously incredible. Two completely different models. Tigress is a Skyrocket too. There's only a couple of those in the world. But I could tell when we rode Full Throttle in California that it was the same manufacturer. And then this new ride, Icebreaker, just looks like it's going to combine a little bit of each of those rides together.
One thing that they do that to me is very distinct is while you're riding it, you almost have areas where you feel like you're going in slow motion. Tigress has a roll where it feels like you're just moving in slow motion. And when we did Full Throttle, you go through a loop, and even in that loop, you felt like you had that. I don't even know how that happens.
It's just a weight thing. It's the way that it's the size of the loop. It's all mathematic. The size of the loop taken into consideration with the weight of the ride vehicle, taken into consideration with the speed of the launch, gives you that blast out and then super slow through the loop or through the corkscrew, whichever it might be. Really cool stuff. And this ride,
feeling.
Icebreaker is going to launch you backwards. That's a start. Then forward. Then there's going to be a track switch. It's going to launch you backwards again up a spike, and then you're going to fall back down and complete the circuit. Multiple launch ride. It's going to be really cool.
Sounds awesome.
We also got to see the front car of the Texas Stingray made by Great Coasters International. That looks like it's going to be really cool too.
And these guys make a lot of wooden coasters.
They do,
that's the thing. They're the wooden
is.
coasters.
Yeah,
so
that's their
Texas
specialty.
Stingray is going to be a wooden coaster, and this is going to SeaWorld San Antonio.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Absolutely. So I mean, the sheer magnitude of the different booths was really mind blowing. Like for example, they had a whole section of models and miniatures. There's a company called Waterworks. I think it's Waterworks.
Oh, is that the one where we saw like the moving model of the
Yes.
water slide?
Yep.
That was really
They have
cool.
a water slide wheel that I believe is open on a cruise ship somewhere. I believe that's on a cruise ship. I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but that was
There's so
that
much
was
to
really
see.
cool to look at. And speaking of cruise ships, one of the other really cool things that we saw over there was from Mauer. I believe it was Mauer.
Yeah, Mauer rides.
Mauer is creating a roller coaster for Carnival Cruise Lines. And if you follow our Facebook page and our Twitter, I posted about this before. I mean, they're putting a full-size roller coaster on top of a cruise ship.
Now, for all you tech heads, it's technically not a roller coaster. This ride is actually a powered coaster. So that whole front section you see right there of the front car, that has a motor of some kind in it that's going, or some type of magnet that is going to interact with the track and push you along. So it's not actually a full technical roller coaster for people who want to get really technical. It is a powered coaster. But I think you can do really fun stuff with that. You get to slam the brakes on and then blast off again, just under the force of its own power.
Well, whatever it is, I mean, that's just incredible that that's going on top of a cruise
Yeah.
ship. That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty amazing too.
It's gonna be, that's fun.
One of the other cool things that we got to see was dark ride fabrication and animatronics.
We saw Garfield.
Yeah, there's some, we saw the animatronics for some type of dark ride featuring Garfield. And we also got to see some really incredible animatronics that tricked me into thinking that a man was actually an animatronic. Then I realized it was a man and then went, oh wait, it is not a man, it is an animatronic. I couldn't believe what I saw.
That was really cool.
So realistic. I'm like, I was about to make a joke with Mel, like, look at that guy, it looks like one of the animatronics. I'm like, wait,
He was an
animatronic. I couldn't believe it.
And
Incredible
I
what they're doing.
absolutely love dark rides. I love
Yeah.
dark rides. I'm so into theming. I love roller coasters, but there's just something very special to me about dark rides. I just love the theming and the animatronics, and it's just, I don't know, that was really fun for me to go through and see some of that stuff, especially the little Garfield display. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah. As we said before, IAAPA is open to the public, but the big thing there is there's a lot of buyers that come, and there's like I had said before, everything that you could think of that goes into making theme parks and attractions. We saw booths for inflatables. That's like the big thing now.
There was a whole section.
Inflatable escape rooms, inflatable, everything that you could think of inflatable. We saw different things that buyers would come to take a look at, like lighting, pyrotechnics.
Yeah, there were fountains, and there was even a whole section for mascots. So when you see these guys in the park and the really cool outfits, you can buy those at IAAPA.
They come from somewhere.
Well, now we know where they come from. There was also an entire section of arcade games, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and people got to demo them. So that was, and as somebody had asked me on one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook, if you could bring children to IAAPA. Yes, we did see children over at IAAPA. I actually think that for, I don't know about for small children, but for children that are at that age where they enjoy virtual reality and they enjoy like playing games, I think they would have a good experience going to IAAPA.
And speaking of virtual reality, there was a lot of VR this year. I mean, I don't really have any other years to compare it to since this is our first IAAPA, but I did hear through the grapevine that there was more VR this year than there has been in the past. And some of the really cool things we get to demo were virtual reality roller coaster, simulator. My favorite had to have been the racing vehicles. They were on hydraulics and they were synced to the video game. So you're driving this vehicle and racing around corners and hitting boosts and trying to avoid hitting these big red X's that slowed you down. And your ride vehicle moves with you. Now that technology's been around for a very long time. I remember playing games in the arcade when I was a kid, like Afterburner and some other racing games, but this with the VR helmet, this is a whole different experience. They also had a VR experience that I tried where you sit 4 or 5 across and you are, I think it's the Arabian Nights was the name of the demo. And you're racing through the desert trying to dodge these henchmen, and you go into a temple and there's all these ruins. The thing flips upside down and it's incredible. When you have that helmet on and you're experiencing this movement, some of these vehicles have fans to simulate wind blowing. You really just, you lose touch with the fact that you're sitting in a ride vehicle with some other people at a convention.
They've really stepped it up. I mean, what's out now is, when I was a kid, you could have only dreamed of this stuff, but it's real now.
Yeah.
Now it's real. I mean, the things that we saw there were just so amazing. It was, I'm so glad that we got to go this year, and it was just such a good experience, our first trip to IAAPA.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I can't wait to do it again. Once again, big shout out to American Coaster Enthusiasts for inviting us to come volunteer for them. That was really fun. We attended the American Coaster Enthusiasts IAAPA meetup at a restaurant, which happened to be after IAAPA. It happened to be next door to our hotel. So that was cool.
Awesome.
Anybody we didn't really get to schmooze with at the convention, we got to speak to at the dinner, and these people are really nice. Everybody's great. I'm really happy to be a member of American Coaster Enthusiasts.
If you're interested in joining, they do have a lot of perks.
Yeah.
So you should definitely check out their website and see about membership with them. Let me give you a tip. When you go to IAAPA, before you go and you buy food, go over to the food vendor section. You would be amazed at what was there.
Yeah, everything.
Full-size pretzels.
Yeah, everything from Dippin' Dots
like
to full
10
pretzels.
different ice creams.
Something called Beaver Tails, which were great.
They're flat donuts. I think they're affiliated with Dippin' Dots.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fantastic.
There was just so much food over there, fried cheese curds. So I want to mention that too, that we didn't know about that, and we had bought lunch, but that didn't stop us. We still went through and ate everything in sight.
But But yeah, I had a great time. I think we're going to go again next year. It was a great experience. Highly recommended for anybody from the general public all the way up to theme park buyers. I think that's going to about do it for us. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when we upload a video. Head over to Facebook and like our Facebook page, Park Chums.
And also, you can find us on Instagram and see some of my roller coaster photography and my other like pictures that we post. And we're also on Twitter too.
Yep. So I think that's going to about do it. Stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. Until then, we'll see you at the parks.